All right, so in this video, we'll look at how to enable TLS bootstrapping in a Kubernetes cluster. And this could be your existing clusters set up like the kubelets connected to the cluster using a kube config created only for the nodes. Or it could be you want to add new nodes but using Bootstrap, TLS bootstrap. So in my setup here, I have this machine and a Ubuntu machine on which I have installed a bunch of stuff. Like here, I'm just upgrading. Later, I have installed Vagrant and VirtualBox, and then I have brought up a cluster on this machine. So here I have a 3-node cluster. So let's see. Get nodes. I have 3-node cluster and 3 workers running here. And Vagrant state should show us all the machines that are on this cluster. So you can see there are 3 controller nodes and 3 worker nodes. So yeah. Now, yeah, this is the cluster is brought up using Kubernetes the hard way using Vagrant. Like this is using this repo. It's linked here. It just shows like how to bring up the cluster using these easy steps. Okay, now let's start the actual work. So before we start, we need to create these cluster role bindings or like role-based access control configs. So what happens is when a node tries or Kubelet tries to connect to the API server using Bootstrap tokens, it is part of this group system column bootstrappers. Now here we are providing permissions so that the node that is going to connect, it has permission to create a certificate signing request, get it signed, approved, and then it can also renew as the time progresses when the certs are invalidated because of the timeout. So yeah, let's start, I guess. So here we have the cluster. So let's look at the nodes. Yeah. Now let's copy paste this thing. Yeah. Okay, it's created. You can see all these cluster bindings. Now let's modify Qbps server and kube controller manager. So we need to add these 2 flags to the Qbps server. And we need to add this 1 flag which is enabling these 2 extra controllers along with all the other controllers using the star on kube controller manager. So we need to do this once, but we need to do it on each and every control plane node. So in my case, I have 3 control plane nodes, so I'll have to do it thrice, sorry. Controller 0, let's SSH. Yeah, let's become sudo here and have this cheat sheet here. So C. So this is where the Qbps server service file, systemd service file is, and this is how the flags look like. Now you can see like the flag authorization mode node RBAC already exists. Like this is one of the flags that we have to provide, along with enable bootstrap token auth. So in my case, in the cluster, I'll only add this flag. So let's do that. Yeah, I've opened it in them, and let's copy it here, just below the flag that already exists. Now let's look at what the kube controller manager service file looks like. It's here, and this is all the flags that it has. Now we'll add the only flag we need to, which is -- controllers. So we can add that anywhere. It doesn't have to be any particular place. So that's done. Now we have modified. One thing I forgot. Before we restart the Qbps server, let's keep an eye on the nodes. So they're always there in front of us. So we'll know quickly if there something goes wrong with the API server. So let's restart the Qbps server and kube controller manager. So you can see the Qbps server here is active and running. Controller manager is active and running. So that's it. Let's move on to the next node. We'll do some set of steps, modification on all controller nodes. So here, just below this authorization mode flag, we'll add the bootstrap token flag. Similarly for controller manager, we will add this one flag, enabling two controllers. Let's restart that. All right, so Qbps server active running, controller manager active running. So we're done. And the final controller node. So let's become root. And just below the authorization node, add these two. Okay. And same for controller manager. We'll add it here. All right, let's restart. You see controller manager is active running and API server is active running. So that's it. That's all the changes we need to do to control plane. Now let's get on to modifications with the kubelet. So before we do that, let's create these tokens, the bootstrap token, that is what this video is about. Now we can let's take a look at these token ID and token secret. So there's nothing but this six characters hexadecimal, and this is 16 characters hexadecimal. This could be anything random. You can use any other tool. There's no issue about it. So with every token that we create, this token ID and token secret we create, we have to create Kubernetes secret object. So you have to create this secret in kube system namespace. It has to be in this convention. The naming has to be of this convention, like bootstrap token the token ID. This is token ID, and inside the data should be this field token ID is token ID, token secret is the token secret we created earlier, and here we are explaining what this token is allowed to do. Like this is where we tell API server, okay, you can use bootstrap authentication. You can use the token for bootstrap authentication and signing. So yeah, let's create that. Yeah, it's created. You can see the token and the token. Now let's create. So yeah, for the let's create the kube config, the bootstrap kube config. So we already have token ID, token secret, but there are two missing pieces which will gather from the existing kube config that I'm using to communicate with the API server. One is the server URL and the CSR. So let's run these commands and extract both of them. And so here you can see, like here we are providing the server from here, CSR from here, and token ID dot token secret in this format. So we create this file, we keep it created, and we'll need it later in a bit. Now this is where we get to the part where we modify the kubelet, like either modify or add these flags to the new node, like whatever you want to do. Like in this case, we are going to modify this one of these nodes, and we'll modify worker too. We'll try to disconnect it from the cluster and bring it back up using Bootstrap, tls-bootstrap. All right. So before we do that, let me explain what happens here. So the three flags that we are going to add is this kubeconfig flag. This is where a new kubeconfig will be downloaded and stored. Uh, Bootstrap kubeconfig is the kubeconfig we created here in the previous step. We'll copy that kubeconfig and put on the host at this path. And rotate certificates is a way of telling Kubelet that uh, after the certificate is expired, you rotate it and create a new one. So let's uh, let's get to the worker two. So we're going to just search worker two. Slow. Okay. So yeah, you can see Kubelet is running. It's active, and that's why we see it ready here. Uh, let's take a look at the system service file. Right now, it only has this flag, and the kube can config that exists on this path is created manually and stored there. So let's remove that kube config. Okay, that's gone. Let's stop kubelet. Let's see if it's really stopped. Yep, you can see it's inactive and dead. So the kubelet is gone, but you still see ready here because it takes some time for API server to register that the kubelet is gone. So let's make that process faster. Let's delete that object, and yeah, it's gone. See. All right. So first of all, let's take a look at the uh, kubelet service file. Okay. So this is we'll add flags after this. So let's open that file and okay, right. So the only step that's remaining is we'll create this Kubernetes directory and copy the kubeconfig created earlier to this path. So let's save this and let's create that directory and kubeconfig. Okay. Let's copy that kubeconfig from the host. Right now we are in the, we are in the first tab, we were in the VM. So yeah, let's paste it there. Okay. So we are all set. Now we just need to restart the Kubelet service. Right. You can see it's active and running. It's Kubernetes Kubelet, and let's take a look at the logs real quick. So, okay, it says certificate rotation is detected. It has contacted Cubelet, sorry, API server, and see, it's not ready right now, but it is already connected, and it's ready as well. So let's quickly take a look at the kube config that we deleted earlier, and you can see a new kube config is downloaded, and the certificate is stored here, and the key is stored here. So that's how you do it. That's how you add a existing node to the cluster using Bootstrap token, or you can use the same set of steps using for a new node as well. So uh, the you can use the same set of tokens for all the nodes that you want, but uh, it's not recommended security wise because let's say if one node is compromised, then all the nodes are basically used. The attacker can add any more number of nodes. So create separate tokens so that you can invalidate them one at a time instead of having to invalidate all the nodes from the cluster. So yeah, that's it. So